Welcome to Objections with Stan Willis. I'm Michael Morris. Over here, as you can see, is C. Stanley Willis. C. Stanley, where are you? Looky here. Look at me. There you go.
I'm sorry.
You're easily distracted today.
Did we start?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is like the show where I thought you were paying attention. You were on your phone, and Nate had to get my attention. You weren't paying attention. That felt really good when we had that kind of start. It felt really good that you never use your phone, but you decided to do it right at the beginning of a show.
Well, you know, important things have to happen when important things
I want you to acknowledge that
I'm sure that it was some kind of huge emergency, like
we were doing a show.
Like,
The show about you?
Like my daughter had a question about dinner or something. I'm sure it was something important.
3 of your children were attacked by sharks in the ocean, and you didn't even bother to check your email. I am trying to tell you, you do not use the phone.
My children were attacked by ocean.
You wouldn't know, because if somebody called you, you never pick up your phone.
That's kind of true.
Yeah, that's my point. So I'm trying to point out that when we're trying to start a show about C. Stanley Willis and his fun times, and you're on the phone, that was the most distracting thing ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Like,
don't pick it up
on the phone.
If I call you, the chances of you picking up
pretty slim. Right? Just because it says Michael Morris.
Yeah, I have a better chance of winning the lottery in Germany than getting you to pick up the phone, and yet you decided to pick it up before we started.
I hardly ever answer the phone.
Can I ask you why? We're going to get into the real topic here, but now I'm glad we're having this personal conversation.
Because I'm driving or, I'm otherwise occupied. I like to stay present in the situation where I am.
There are no narcs here. The cops don't listen to the show. You can be honest. Have you ever picked up the phone while you're driving?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Tell the cops that is against the law. You're not allowed to do that.
It's actually not against the law as long as you do it hands-free.
I always have my hands free. I put my knee on the wheel, so I got my phone in my hand, and I have another phone that I'm scrolling like Instagram, but I have both my hands free.
Well, whatever. Back when cell phones first came out, I can remember times where I'd be cruising along. I'd have the phone out on one hand, and I'm trying to drive with my knee, and I'm trying to write something down on the seat over
I was explaining to Mia, who's over here in the room, about CDs, how we had those CD books.
Oh, yeah.
And we would flip through the CDs as we were driving.
Trying to find the right...
While you had your phone in your ear, and you're driving through downtown traffic.
And then if you were, was special and you had the 6 CD changer, you had to figure out which CD you wanted to change. Dang, that's the wrong one.
God, it feels good to talk about the old days when this country was still a country. Yeah. Can we talk about something that is disturbing this country right now?
Sure.
So,
something besides me talking on the cell phone.
No, we're going to get back to that because now I'm starting to get mad about it because all the times I've called you and you don't pick up. And then I see you 3 days later, you're like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, you would know if you picked up that phone. But I want to get past that because
I'm much better in person. I'm just not that great on the cell phone.
If you picked it up,
texting is even worse. You send me a text message, you might get.
I do have to say
3 days later.
I do have to say because this is now become. I got to get this out. I sent you a promo that we did for the show.
Right.
Just like, hey, do you like it? I'd like to post it. You just saw it 3 days later. What did I? When you walked in here, I said, hey, did you see the video? What video? The video that I sent on your phone. Here's the part. It's not that you didn't look at it, because you probably did and probably forgot. It's that you didn't even pick up the phone to look at it while I was discussing it with you. You didn't even give a shit to look at the thing I just said about you to promote this. You did not even want to pick up the phone for that. I think you only did it out of moral obligation because I kept talking about it. And then this is the best part.
I really felt nagged.
He looks at it.
He's a nagger.
And he says nothing about it and sets the phone back down. It's better if I did all this without you, without your consent. And take that however you want.
I've heard that you have a problem doing things without consent.
And yet I don't have a problem with it. Other people have a problem with it. I don't consent to their consent. I don't care. Oh, okay. I had to get that out because I felt like that was stuck. I feel better now. Now I get the whole Maury Povich thing.
Are you okay?
When you find out you are or you're not the father and then you try to beat up the mom on the stage. That's how I feel right now. Like I feel like Maury brought us together.
So you want to beat up your mom?
Constantly, but it has nothing to do with this. This has become like just a therapy session with me. Now I'm just gonna bitch about all the things that Zaya does that drives me nuts.
Okay, well, what else is there?
No, I'm not. We have to use this show to educate the public. All 7 people that listen to this.
7? We got a new listener?
2 of them are us. 1 is Nate when he's editing. We're really down to nobody.
Did you start making Mia watch this? Is that what happened?
I said to her, hey, have you ever watched the show? She said, I subscribed. And I go, that is an FU kind of way to go. I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to do just enough. That is literally the kid who comes to school every day but cuts out at second period. Right. I was there every day. Horse shit. Okay. Listen. We got to get back to the point that we never even got to.
So your daughter's sitting on the side trying not to laugh, and it's really kind of funny. I think
because she knows it's true.
I think she's gonna throw up.
My mom said to me,
"It's great having a studio audience."
Yeah. My mom.
We need an applause sign.
She said. Every Saturday we go to lunch with my parents, and she literally out of nowhere goes, "Are you still doing those little podcast things?" I'm like, "Fuck." Are you serious? Like those little yeah, like I'm in a bingo hall just reciting poetry I wrote. I don't think that's what's going on. We're doing big things here.
Wait, you write poetry?
I'm about to. Oh, Nate wrote us an applause.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you for the applause.
No, you didn't. I do not consent to you applauding your own applause.
But I want to applaud.
To this point,
thank you, Nate.
Why do we have topics? Why do we have topics for the show? Nate, are we 21 minutes in and we've never even gotten to a point yet?
About 7.
For Christ's sake.
It's not my fault. You're the one with all the weird stuff to talk about. I mean, it's been a therapy session for you.
I don't like that there's this many people laughing about it, and one of them is not me. Listen. Let's rally, you idiots.
It's a new thing. We call it ridicule therapy. You tell us what's going on in your life and what bothers you.
It's not what's going on in my life.
And we ridicule you for it.
This is me dealing with you.
And then you learn that it's just not that big a deal.
I wish we had an HR department so I could file something. Because this right now, this is testimony that they would play in a trial and they go, fuck it, he's right. Stan is wrong. Okay.
What? Did that make any sense?
This is not your therapy session. It's
Rewind
mine.
that and see if it actually makes sense in slow motion.
Listen, we have to talk about a major issue here other than you not picking up the phone or paying attention.
That is a major crisis.
Those are 2 problems we have. I want to ask your opinion on this. Gas prices have started to come down.
They have, yes.
Okay, pretty
I think that's
severe.
mostly because Biden told them that they had to take them.
Okay, so we're gonna get to that part in a minute. Because he sent that real stern tweet.
Right.
Come on, guys, corporate greed, blah blah blah.
They responded.
Yeah, but my question is, how does our gas price go down at the same time we send 5 million barrels of oil to the European countries?
Strategic reserves.
And I'm going to tell the audience the truth. We did not know if it was 5 million or 5 billion or 500 billion, and we were going to report all 3 numbers, right?
It was 5 something,
right? Well, it was 5 million is the actual number. We had to look it up.
Blank barrels.
But Stan and I literally looked at each other like 500 billion's a lot, and 5 billion's a lot, and realizing we were way off.
Way off.
So 5 million.
It was his fault.
I'm the one that picked up my phone to check the data to find out.
I actually think that was Mia.
Mia gave me the phone. So here's what I understand about math. If I don't have a lot, if I give a lot away, how does the price of the item come down?
That's that's just a mystery. But I think it more has to do. The price has to do with the amount that's being refined and the speed at which they're refining it. And it also has to do with the number of barrels that are actually available out on the market. So, I think it's kind of reflecting the production rate more than the number of barrels that were in the strategic reserves. The other thing is the barrels that were in our strategic reserves are for our
strategic reserves. Right.
So I'm not sure sending our oil that we're keeping for strategic purposes to Europe is a great idea.
Well, the part of this that doesn't make sense is, again, if you just do the math of this. So when they wanted Russia, they wanted countries to cut off Russia, we're not going to buy oil from them, which that worked out, except for it didn't work out. So when we pledged to replace 30% of the oil that from
Russia.
These European countries that we're getting from Russia, when we make that pledge, we're not producing enough to begin with. So we were going to get it from Saudi Arabia, Venezuela.
Canola oil.
Well, I spilled gasoline in my hand on the way in here, and I can tell you that gasoline doesn't smell the same as gasoline. I did, in a celebratory nature that it was down under $4.95. I started spraying it on kids and everything, and they were dancing that was a water park. And I was like, "Here's some matches, have fun." Now I had to come and do the show, so I don't know how that ended.
Wasn't that in Zoolander?
Yes.
Yeah, Zoolander.
Oh, that was the best. That's my favorite meme since Biden has taken office, and it says 2020 celebrating what gas prices used to be. But we made a pledge that we couldn't hold to unless we got into our strategic reserves, which I remember they were paying Trump. The gas was during the pandemic was such a non-starter that we were being given, like, here, just take it. And he stockpiled it, and people are like, what an idiot. He's still paying for gas and no one's using it. This is the reason, you slack-jawed asshole.
Well, it's partly that. And, I think part of our problem is that we have this wildly competent group of people in the administration who are really on top of things and understand what makes the world work. So, we shut down a pipeline, which, arguably isn't that big of a deal in the overall production rate. We have most of our fracking industry, the shale oil industry is kind of shut down at the moment. We stopped giving people new licenses to find new oil. Then we cut the rate at which we help we reimburse refineries, so that the small refineries really are kind of being pushed out of business by the larger refineries. And then we stand up and say, I don't understand why gas prices are going up. Do you? It doesn't make any sense. It really just doesn't make any sense.
My favorite part was seeing, I think it was a week ago, when Biden was talking to Macron, and somehow
the French guy.
Yep, that's a very French name, Pierre Lacron. I don't even know if that's his name, but Macron is talking to him close enough to reporters, so he's not saying it so they hear it. He's saying it so Old Man Winter can hear it, but he's talking to him like I would talk to Mia when she was like 8. They're out of ice cream, so he's trying to explain the Saudis cannot produce any more for 6 months at best. Mm-hmm. And as Biden is listening, you can almost see him go, oh, so I came all this way for nothing. So Macron is like, he does it again, like, I want to make sure that you understand what I just said. Mm-hmm. And then that's when the tweets or press releases or whatever come out where Biden is haranguing the oil and gas executives. But I also am thinking, like, how did that make that big a difference? Like, the oil executives cut it, I don't know, let's say 55 cents.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, out of nowhere, you just cut the price in a week or 10 days. So are you gouging us? Do you think that they're gouging us or not?
Of course.
What do you think they were when it was, say, $2?
I think, honestly, the way that gas gets priced is kind of a mystery to everybody, right? I mean, why does the price of gas need to change every day?
That's a very good point.
Why does it need to change hourly? Why is it in 0.9? Why doesn't it just have whole cents? I mean, why does it do all that stuff?
God damn it! Why isn't this show called Whole Sense? Sorry, you just said something, and I'm like, we're gonna change it. It's Whole Sense with Michael and Stanley.
Whole Sense.
Go on. So why is it priced
half cents?
Well, do you know why it's priced on a 9 on the at the pumps and all that, because you don't go, God damn it, I'm paying $5. You go, $4.99. At least it's not $5, because consumers look at nines and zeros. If you look at a 3 or whatever, your brain only computes like rounding so much. So when you see a 7 or a 9, you go, at least it's not full price.
Yeah, but like a penny in our world is worth nothing, but we're still doing 9/10. Like,
are you saying in the law world, does lawyers that a penny means nothing?
In our country, they've actually talked about doing away with pennies and in nickels even, and yet we have gas priced at 99.9, as in that tenth of a penny is.
Yeah, but if the guy across the street's at $4.98, you're saving that penny, and
No,
you're
he's
going
at
to
4.98.9. They're always at 0.9.
I feel like you're you're getting upset. Like, I feel like you wanted your time to speak your mind and get things off your chest.
Okay, you had 7 minutes of therapy before we get started here. So
that was a rant against you and the things that you do that make my life difficult. That had nothing to do with therapy, though I did feel better about it.
None of that really had much to do with me, and it's kind of your own little problem that you have over there.
And here is deflection, okay? Right there. You're the one that needed. Listen, we're going to get into you on a different show. I want to know this. So moving forward, I don't see gas prices staying. I don't see that huge swing anymore. But my question is, how bad does this look that you gave 5 million barrels? I don't care if you gave 500
barrels.
It is. It's not as many as 5 billion.
But it's twice as many as 500,000.
But it's 1/3 of 500 billion, which we said already.
Something like that.
Someone is in their car with a drink in their hand, driving with their knee, trying to do the math.
He was joking. I think he was joking.
No, I encourage that.
He wasn't joking.
If somebody can put their 2012 Mazda through a Waffle House, we will pay for your dinner. Well, those things are off the road. They're not right on the side. I mean, you got to get bunny hop a curb.
You got to put some effort into getting there.
They're always next to a hotel or an empty parking lot where shame happens. But do you think that this is a continuing I think I saw the number 72% of Americans think the country's headed in the wrong direction. No, 82%.
82%. 78% of Democrats.
Right. But then Biden is 72% disapprove of his presidency.
Well, right. And I think it's over half.
But aren't you running out of runway at some point? 101% people.
You think about it, even in his own party, I think he's over half. I think he's 51% disapprove. That's in his party. So that's kind of shocking. I think that's what that poll said.
I don't understand the means of what they're trying to do, because it's almost like they got complete power. This is my take on it, and I could be wrong. They got complete power. They got, no matter what they want, they can push anything through, and I don't think they expected it. And so now they're like, shit. We concentrated on stealing an election. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Stealing this so that we could do whatever we want without really thinking about what do we want.
It could be that, or it could be that, the George Soros crowd wants to get the United States out of the way. I mean, fundamentally, what that group, that sort of Davos, whatever
World Economic Forum,
whatever you want to call them, the group of Rome descendants, whatever the Rothschild, whatever they are, fundamentally their ultimate goal is to reassert Europe as the center of the freaking universe, and to make and I think that they need to get the United States out of the way in order to do that.
But do you think it's fully pushing them out of the way, or do you think it's temporarily, we need you on the sidelines while we rebuild this the way we want, so that there would go back to being two superpowers?
Their point with this great reset thing is destroy everything and rebuild it in favor of us. And I think that there are a good number of politicians in the United States that kind of buy into they kind of have that same
Well,
European.
Gavin Newsom is a graduate of the World Economic Forum. So is Justin Trudeau. Not an American, but also a pussy.
Not surprising.
Which part?
That those two.
Oh, I thought you meant that he's not American.
But they do some things like Tulsi Gabbard is like the most anti-Davos person, but they claim that she graduated from there too.
Right.
They put her on that list, but she hasn't.
It's the biggest propaganda thing because they can say, "Oh, we support this guy," or like Macron. He's a guy that Boris Johnson. These people, but it's like
He
when
resigned today, didn't he?
he did.
He resigned this
I
morning?
thought we would talk about it, but then I'm like, nobody gives a flipping toss about that guy because again, I remember them making fun of him when he got in office.
Well, I mean, Boris Johnson, since we're talking about abject failures on the Biden administration, Boris Johnson had the same thing. He came in after Brexit in a situation where he had, coalesced power and the ability to actually make substantial change.
He could do whatever he wanted.
Right. Well, right. And he did basically nothing.
But leading up to his resignation, I didn't mean to cut you off, but 50 people in his party that he needed all are resigning over the course of a couple of days to essentially force him out. So he could do nothing anyway.
Right. But I mean, we're kind of running out of time. But I think that the upcoming election is going to be very telling about what happens in direction of our country wise. I think that there's as we were talking beforehand, the World Economic Forum, the WEF has its claws in both parties pretty deeply, but not everybody. And I think a lot of I think there's a good chance that a lot of the people that are kind of the neocons, those are the ones who are kind of in the World Economic Forum world. I think there's a good chance that a lot of them get defeated in
the midterms.
Yeah, so I think.
See, I think that we can get into it in another show, but I think midterms are one thing. But I think that what you're seeing now is we're going to plan for every 4 years because whoever's at the top, typically, if you have a Democratic president, you can flip a bunch of Democratic seats.
I think if the midterms go the wrong way, that there's a chance there won't be 2024, at least not in our current context.
What a cliffhanger. We'll address that on our next show. You've been listening to Objections with C. Stanley Willis, and the applause meter is up. We will see you next week.